Welcome to Spectrum Perspectives, real talk with parents, professionals, and autism advocates, with your host, Cindy Gellermini.
Hi everyone, welcome to part 2 of Lotte and Rosie's story. Today you'll hear about the struggles that Lotte's dealing with as a grandmother getting custody of her granddaughter Rosie, and then the fight that she's going through trying to get her the proper schooling and therapies that she needs and deserves. And has her school closed this past year because of COVID?
Yes, they had closed last April. I believe it was March or April, they stopped all in person. So she had nothing from April until September, outside of written instructions. I had the option for online, but one of the problems we have for Rosie is electronics stimulate, they overstimulate her, and when we go to take something away, even if she's doing a 20 or 30-minute time session on a Zoom class or something, she does major meltdowns and we have severe behavioral issues afterwards. So I simply end up with handouts, and I'm sitting here doing trying to do her therapy via ditto sheets, for a nicer way to put it. So her education at this point is relinquished to Xerox copies and go do this project or go do that project. And if I can't master her through it, or she has meltdowns with it, it's not an option. And in the meantime, that's a very challenging burden because I'm sitting here as a widow trying to raise this kid. So I'm having to oversee all the aspects of life alone. And I don't have a babysitter for support. I don't have any other services for support. The time I have is right now. She is picked up on the bus on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings, provided there is school and there's no snow days. So today is her first day of school in 2 weeks. She'll get 1 day today, and then next week back to that. So she has been cut from March last year till February this year. So 11 months, the child has missed her 5-day-a-week program to get kindergarten ready.
Yeah, so
for
where is she
Head Start.
developmentally now, do you think? Is she verbal?
She is verbal. She is highly animated. She
How's her
has
comprehension?
comprehension isn't there.
Okay.
Her comprehension isn't there. She doesn't have any understanding of safety. She can hear you as far as when you describe what's a good choice, what a bad choice is, but she cannot make them. There's a lot of safety issues for her. I don't know how to describe all that I go through with that, but it's very challenging.
Give me a for instance.
The ceiling fan is on and she's going to get on the bed and decide to jump on the bed and hit her head up into the ceiling fan that's spinning overhead.
Right.
Rosie, the dog, is upset. Don't touch him. She goes over, she sticks her face into his and tries to grab his neck and hug him. Choke him in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
Her idea of a hug, his idea is you're strangling me.
Mm-hmm.
She'll go outside without any winter clothes on. She'll go out without shoes on. Dressing, she can put her clothes on for the most part, but this morning, Rosie, you need to take your pants off and put them the right way to go to school. The zipper goes in front. Mm-hmm. She still can't master socks. She still can't master which shoes go on which foot. She does not understand. You can say left and right, but she really doesn't know what is left and right. Mm-hmm. She'll run out of the house and just run out in the middle of the street.
Right.
She doesn't comprehend safety protocols of any kind in so many ways.
Does she know her alphabet now or no? Because
no,
you said she could sing it, but she doesn't understand what it is.
No, she can sing the tune.
Yeah,
she can hum. She can sing the melody, but she can't sing the words that go with the melody. It's right. All random. It's all random.
It's a song.
And yeah, that's it. There's nothing there. So you can sit and sing the same song with her all day long. She can't repeat it to you. She can tell you parts of it. She can tell you a concept of it. Mm-hmm. Story time, they'll read a 2-3 page story. She can't tell you what the story was about. She can give you random things that it included a dog, but that's about it.
Right.
She can't tell you what the story was. So the cognitive is not there.
Right. So they're trying to get her ready for kindergarten. She's obviously not ready for kindergarten. So what do you think is going to happen in September? Let's say we're COVID free at that point and everything's opening up again. Okay, let's COVID aside. Okay, do you think, are they going to just put her in kindergarten and just push her through? Will they keep her in a special class instead? Like,
there is nothing above age 5 for special needs as a separate classroom. They would force her into the classroom. I would then be left to trying to find a school that might handle her as special needs. And then I have a fight with the school district to get the tuition and transportation covered.
they don't, would they supply an aid?
I don't know if COVID's not an issue, and I can get it included in her IEP, but right now I can't get it included in her IEP because I can't get a medical person to put down she has to have an aid.
And for those people that don't know, an IEP is an individual education plan. Any kid that has any type of, diagnosis or whatever, you get your child study team and they write up a whole education plan of all the things that they think your kid is going to need. And they sort of set up these goals of, whatever. She'll be able to put 3 blocks together. She'll be able to say 20 words or, whatever. It all depends on the kid. I'm just saying that was sort of Robbie's, like, he'll eat independently, he'll go to the bathroom independently, whatever. It's not like, where other kids might be like, whatever, he'll be doing so many multiplication tables or whatever. It all depends on the kid.
Cindy, there was an episode of Robbie and Me that I watched where you were discussing how Robbie had been taught to fasten his seatbelt and how it created problems for you. Well, I'm running into those same kinds.
How to unfasten his seatbelt was the problem.
Right.
Because I didn't want him to take it off when we're riding in the car.
Right. Well, I'm going
to learn.
Right. Well, I'm going through things like that now with Rosie. She's very observant about the things that are done around her. And I just went through it with her. We were visiting at someone's house, and she's not at an age where you think to baby proof a house. And I've never had problems with her where she goes after cleaning chemicals and anything like that. But now with this whole COVID thing, anytime that a child is finished with something, the first thing they do is pull out disinfectants, spray and wipe, and they spend the whole day cleaning everything.
Yeah.
Well, she has been observing that in class, and she has a specific instructor in school that she really likes and admires. Well, we were at someone's house. She, unbeknownst to me, she had walked into the bathroom. I believe she was going for the potty. Well, in the process, she found industrial strength cleaning chemical in there and had taken it out, and it was in a spray bottle, and sprayed down the whole house. That sounds silly, except the problem was it was highly toxic, and I now had doors covered with it. I had light switches heavily sprayed with it where I had this fluid coming out of electrical sockets. No, we were visiting. This was someone else's house. I had furniture that was ruined. I was very fortunate that they were more concerned about the safety factor than they were about the damage in the house. But she had gone through all 3 bedrooms and had started in the hallway, working her way down the house. And it was a matter of 5 minutes that she had gotten a hold of this. I was in the kitchen where I could look down the hallway, and I had missed that when she ran out of the bedroom and going into the room that was for her and where there were play toys, that she had this bottle. So it wasn't that she wasn't being watched. She just got it past you. She's very sharp. She's very quick. She is intelligent. So I don't have issues on that front, but I have problems with cognitive and safety and all of the other aspects, and behavior where she's highly animated and very hard to oversee. The word control isn't even on the horizon.
Right.
So those are the challenges. I've been told that since she has a BHS worker now, she qualifies for BHS services for life.
Okay.
So as long as I keep them in the picture, I can get the guidance that I need for her case, as long as I keep them in the picture and they know what her case looks like, which should have been here earlier, but it is here now, and that's what I have to work with now. So if there is a need for her as far as a group home setting and anything of that nature, they can walk me through all of that.
If they have them
Fortunately,
available. It sounds like you got nothing up there.
there is one house, there's one housing set up down in town, the county seat, where they do have, I think it's 20 people that they have in there. It's a smaller setup, but they have it where each person has their own, the equivalent of their own apartment, like you would for senior living. It's just basic, a kitchen, bedroom, bathroom setup, and they oversee that.
And who's
That
it run
once a
by?
week they. It's one of the county agencies, and I'm not sure, but it is overseen. And they sit down with them every month and go through finances with them, make sure that that's all done. They take care of all the transportation because these people aren't able to hold driver's licenses and so forth. But they're able to live on their own, just with a group home type oversight, but not as involved as what you had for Robbie. But again, it's something that would have to happen where they would end up aging through the school program and have a diploma, basically because they reached the age of 21, instead of that they've actually reached the goals for a standard high school diploma.
Yeah, so he went
Graduate.
to school till he was 21, but he went to a school for children with autism.
Right. I have to deal with the public school system because we don't have a special school. I don't have those diagnoses. There is a school for children with autism out here in the Wilkes-Barre area, but unless I have the right medical information coming in, I can't enroll her in there.
Right.
So for the moment, I am stuck in the midway. I'm stuck half between both places. I'm in limbo land, for lack of a better way to
So
say
what would
it.
a perfect world be for her?
That I could walk in and have a doctor actually sit and listen to me, look at all the parts and pieces and evaluate. One of the things that was part of Rosie's diagnosis when they determined she was chronic failure to thrive, she was also tested as nicotine dependent.
Oh, God.
She did not have in utero exposure to nicotine, as far as we know, but from the time that the stepfather stepped on the scene in January, she was exposed to intense nicotine. He would transport her, basically strap her down in a car seat, leave her there for up to 14 hours, not change her, have her strapped in the back of the car, chain smoke, no windows open, and this is what the child was living on. So again, I love your face. It was very awful when I got her to the house after court in February, 4 years ago. I took her diaper bag. I was told one of the things the child loved was saltines. So I took her diaper bag to give her a change. God, the diapers reeked. Okay. I went to change her. I figured, all right, this is the last diaper. I've got to get new stuff. All right. So, because I didn't know what size she was, I knew nothing. And she was still in 9-month-old clothes when I got her. The clothes I had gotten her was size 2T. Well, 2T doesn't fit a 9-month-old child. And so I had to go out and repurchase everything. I needed to get new diapers and all of that. So I was changing her when I got her to the house. I had enough to get her through the night in the diaper bag, but I pulled out the saltines that were in there to feed her. And I thought, let's try one of these and see what she really likes. Cindy, I've been into it. It was like eating an ashtray. The diaper bag was so nicotine impregnated. I just put it outside. I wouldn't even leave it in the house. It was horrible. But this is what the child was experiencing. This was her life. There was nothing else I could do with it.
Back to the nicotine. Does she have asthma or any kind of breathing issues from that? Because no? Okay. That's amazing.
No, she does not have those, but we think that was all part of the weight gain. And because this does do neurologic damage in such small kids, I think one of the problems that she had was nicotine withdrawal when I got her. She had night terrors. I held her for a full year to be able to sleep. This
Mm.
child could not be laid down even for a nap on her own. I had to hold her. There was no other option but that. I've been through a lot with her on those kinds of things.
So back to my question of what's a perfect world with her, like what what would be the perfect scenario of you want a doctor to listen to you and then you would get what type of services?
Let's see what the full diagnosis is. Do we have a medical issue where she can be healed from? I've made some good strides with a very good nutritionist, and we have been trying to heal whatever has gone wrong early on in life, from the nicotine, from the head fall, and all of this. We're trying to see whatever we can heal on the inside out, to see that we can bring her to the best health plateau that she can be. Um, I would like to see the services that she needs be in place and not be canceled just because we have someone afraid of getting sick. You're dealing with a small child. You're dealing with an isolated child. You're not dealing with a child who's highly socialized. You're not dealing with great exposure in doing this. And all the other contacts that these people are having are all such as what you and I are doing through Zoom. They're all working remotely. We're not dealing with high human contact. I don't feel that a child who has these types of challenges is benefiting from no touch. The reason you have attachment disorders in children is because there is nobody touching these children. There's nobody handling these children. There's nobody providing the touch that is essential as a human need. There's nobody giving them a hug when they're hurt, when they're crying. Who's wiping their tears at school? This just isn't happening. Oh, we can't touch, stay 6 feet away. How do you console that little child?
Mhm.
And that's
Is she
all
expected to
essential.
wear a mask?
Oh, yes, she has to mask in school, and they get a mask break by going outside on the playground for 10 minutes. They can go outside. So in 2.5 hours, she gets a 10-minute where she can breathe fresh air.
And she keeps the mask on. She's not freaked out by it.
There are mask issues as what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. Um, and we do as little masking as possible.
Mhm.
And she gets very aggravated with it. She gets very confused by it. She does not do well with following instructions. So that's all part of the game. And my answer is, somebody gives me difficulty in the store, this is a special needs child. I'm sorry that you're uncomfortable. Um, she's here only because she has to be here. You're an adult. If you're uncomfortable, please go into a different spot, or you could choose to stay home. That's the answer that you end up having to give people.
Mhm.
If they have difficulty with a 5-year-old who clearly has issues at times, very publicly visible, I can't help. Somebody else has to grow up and be the adult there.
Mhm.
And I hate to sound horrible in that, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I have another friend that her son has Down syndrome and autism and other issues, and he absolutely won't wear a mask, and they don't wear masks when they go into the store, and she's like, you do not have to wear a mask if you have a medical issue,
Issue.
and you
Right.
don't have to explain it to people because of the HIPAA laws. You don't have to tell people what the issue is, and I think some people need to understand.
Unfortunately, in Pennsylvania and New York, if that's the case and you're not willing to leave the store and not be there, they will have the police come and remove you, even if it is a medical issue.
Really. Store. Well, she doesn't live in New Jersey or Pennsylvania. She lives out in the Midwest, so I don't know how it works for her, but it does.
Right. And then she's very fortunate that way.
Well, see,
But
and with Robbie, he was when he was young, he looked like a typical child. He was very cute, and I always said if he had Down syndrome or some other type of thing where it was you could physically tell that there was, an issue, it would be easier, or if he was in a wheelchair or something, you couldn't
right.
tell with him. He just looked like a kid that was spoiled and having a temper tantrum, and you have to explain to people, no, this is autism. I felt like it was a little harder,
Right.
you get it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I go through the same thing with Rosie. Uh, Rosie wants to have certain things. One of the things she wants to have is she wants to have that electronics in her hand. It's an
every other
escape
kid.
for her.
Yeah.
And so she will go up to somebody. She says, "Do you have a puppy?" "Oh yeah." "Or do you have a kitty?"
Mhm.
She'll ask one of the two questions, and
Mhm.
most people will have something like that. "Oh, do you have any pictures of it?" "Oh yeah," and they automatically pull out their
Oh, pull
cell
up the
phone,
phone and then
and
oh,
she says,
she's
"Oh, can I
smart.
see that?" And they hand her the
The
phone,
phone. Oh, she's smart.
and there you go.
Mhm.
So that's how she does that. And she I know somebody, say if she sees a box of chips or something out, "Oh, you have chips?" Yesterday we were at a car dealership,
Mhm.
and she saw a man sitting in the side in another office, and she saw a box of Cheez-Its. She says, "Oh, you like those?" And he says, "Yeah, would you like some?" "Sure." So he's feeding her this whole box of Cheez-Its. She's dropping them all over the office. "Well, you'd like a glass of water with it?" So he gives her a cup. Well, it's a styrofoam cup. Next thing I know, she's ripping the styrofoam cup up. That's dropping all over the place. All right, this sounds like normal child behavior, but it's not normal for 5 years old.
Right.
That's
You're
normal for
toddler,
3 years old.
yeah. So I
And
have another question for you. So you were mentioning the circumference of her head and how it looks smashed in when she fell when she was adult. How's her head now? Like, has it grown?
the shape the shape went back to normal. The plates and everything went back into place. Done this in front of the chiropractor, where her eyes will pull to one side of, like to the corner of the eye, and they'll pull to the left, and her head starts pulling to the right. I've had weird stuff like that happen with her. I'm told, "Well, that's not seizure, or that's nothing to worry about." And I'm thinking,
Nothing to worry
uh
about.
"Oh yeah, that's what I was told by pediatric neurology. Oh, that's nothing to worry about. That's just her." And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
"No, that's not. We're here for an MRI. Hello. At what point are you going to say yes?" And
Wow.
the pediatric neurologist comes back and says, "Well, your doctor can order an MRI." And I'm going, "Unfortunately, we don't have the facilities up here, and this is pediatrics. It requires something separate." "Oh, well, I'm not ordering this." And I'm like, because she's just not examinable. And I'm like, "Really?" He walked out of the room and he says to me, he says, "Lady, you deserve every pass there is in the book. You've got your hands full." And he walked out of the room on me.
Wow.
And this is somebody who's been doing this for over 30 years.
Did you
A
go to New
background
Jersey to
that
see doctors, or will your insurance not cover coming across the state?
does not cover coming out of state. One of the concerns that we have because of the fall, you have to remember, with a head trauma like that, it's not just the head that's also a problem, it's also neck,
Yeah.
because you have a whiplash that's involved with that. And one of the things that I would like to see is if there is any attachment issues at what they call zero cervical, which is where the brain attaches to the spine.
Mhm.
To do that, well, that requires an MRI, but it requires a vertical MRI instead of the standard horizontal MRI. I found a place in New York State where I could possibly have it done, but I'm not sure if they will do it at this young an age, because we have to anesthetize her.
Yeah.
And that's one of the problems. And that's why we are going through pediatric neurology, because she's not able to. Right now, she needs to have cavities filled in her mouth. She cannot go through a standard process in a dentist office. She is scheduled all the way out into June for having teeth filled, because they have to knock her out. Does that tell you how crazy it is out here? That's just getting a couple of teeth
She's
filled.
supposed to live with cavities for 6 months.
Actually, this has been since December, so she's looking at closer to 8, 9 months before she ends up being seen to have her cavities filled.
Wow. Wow. So
Um,
it's 12:15 almost. Is she getting home on the bus soon?
she should be out in the driveway, probably. I should have heard from the bus driver by now. Uncle Kiddo? Would you say hi to Aunt Cindy?
Hi, Aunt Cindy.
Hi, cutie. How are you?
Give Miss Rusty a hug. Let's get going. All right.
Hi, Aunt Cindy.
Hands all over everything. Go ahead, Dan.
She's adorable.
She is. She is a firecracker. but trying to keep up with her is like impossible. I mean, it's overwhelming. And I don't mind doing the job. I love kids. I love my granddaughter. Unfortunately, I speak with Katie now, and Katie just does not get the picture of what's wrong. So she's slowly getting there. It will take time.
My goal with these calls is to get through to legislators and decision makers, you know, what is lacking in the system and what needs to be done to fix it.
What is lacking in the system, in all honesty, in my experience, and this is for my case only, and the number one thing that's missing is connective tissue. That everything is so fractured and splintered that you can't seem to just get one person who can coordinate everything. I mean, I used to go through this with my parents. When my father was very ill, I was the coordinating point for all of the doctors. And it just to try to get one doctor to oversee a case when there were multiple specialties involved was hard. Well, we really need the same thing on a caseworker. We really need to be, Rosie, please get off the chair. Yeah, yes, safety. She just climbed to the top edge of the lift chair that's all the way up in the air. We really need to be able to not be dropped through the loophole. You know, this one will say, oh, well, children and youth can do it. No, children and youth can only do so much, and they can only oversee so much, and they really don't know all the options out there. Behavioral health, they can do so much, but they can't do everything. So you really need to be able, just like we have a team that comes together for an IEP, we really need to be able to have that type of a team situation.
Right.
Where, wait a minute, you know, she is in early intervention. Why don't we have this part of the picture in place for this person? What needs to happen? What is the referral that needs to happen? Yeah. This person is having difficulty getting the medical support. Why are we not getting through with the medical? Okay, we need to really reach out to the caseworker at the insurance. Most people don't even, I learned this through a nurse from the Elks. I'm sure you know of who the Elks are. And they actually have specialty nursing staff. And through that, I learned that insurance has caseworkers for special needs. I didn't know that there was a special needs caseworker inside the insurance for my child. And when you call up and you speak to general customer service, most of the general customer service inside insurance doesn't know that exists either. You have to get into supervisors. But these are things that are known by people who are caseworkers. So you don't know this as a general parent.
Right.
So truthfully, that is one of the things that needs to be in place. And with that, there needs to be the resource lists. And each of these organizations has their own separate resource lists. They'll know where the specialty schools are in one group that they won't know about in the other. Another one will know specialties inside of medicine that another one won't know. And that really has to be done. Just like we do the round table for an IEP, there really needs to be a round table for specialties. There really needs to be a round table for caseworkers.
Right.
You know, I learned that,
you know, like who exactly what organization would that be through? I don't even know.
That's one of the things. But the thing is, all of these services are under HHS,
which is,
so it's not Health and Human Resources.
Yeah. And that's
Health and Human
state?
Resources.
That's for the state. Okay, it's not
that's state
or whatever.
That's
okay.
Right. That's all under state HHS. You have education and health, and all of this is underneath them. So for them to put one as the lead or the senior is not that complicated.
Maybe you should go work for them. We'll fix
Cindy, no, but honestly, as a result of Rosie's story, when I found out it was the acknowledgement of paternity that was the root of the neglect for this child that stopped everything, I opened my mouth and I was invited into Harrisburg to give testimony in front of the Children's and Youth Committee. I did that, and that was in June or July. By September, I was every month in Harrisburg on a private meeting. They had put together a work group as a result of the testimony that was given. It was very compelling. And with that, we wound up with a state legislature that was passed here. There is a thing called the Kin Connector program in PA. That's in place because I opened my mouth and gave testimony about Rosie.
Good for you.
And I used to go every week into Harrisburg till this got done and signed into law. So I have no problems with opening my mouth. And I'm still on the advisory board for that.
All right, good for you. All right, listen, we gotta go. I want to see Rosie one more time so we could say goodbye to her.
Hi, bye, Cindy. Hi, good
Bye.
Have a good year. Well, are you planning on seeing her next year?
Next week?
Next week?
Yeah.
So there's no perception of time.
Yeah.
Right now I get the, I want this list for Christmas. Rosie, Christmas isn't till after your birthday. When's my birthday? I says, well, your birthday is after you start kindergarten. Well, when do you, okay. And then she says, well, before Christmas, she was saying, well, when is Easter?
Right.
I said, Easter is half a year away. So it's next week? No, it's not next week. We still haven't had Christmas. There's no comprehension on any of this. So
all right.
Challenging.
Well, thank you for talking to us today and filling us in on what it's like over there in PA. And it sounds like they have a lot of work to do.
They have a lot of work to do on all fronts.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know if this is any help to you or not. Love you, sweetheart.
Thanks. I love you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
That's it for today's episode. That's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed listening and it helped you gain a new perspective. To see the video version of the show, go to our YouTube channel, Robbie and Me, Autism Reality. If you're interested in buying our book series, Robbie's World and His Spectrum of Adventures, the link will be in our episode description, as well as my Instagram and Facebook pages. If you enjoyed the show and you'd like more content, please be sure to hit that like button, follow us, and don't forget to leave us a great review. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to join us again on our next episode of Spectrum Perspectives.
Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to join us again on our next episode of Spectrum Perspectives.